Chris Weidman's leg didn't heal properly. He had to get another surgery on that leg at an advanced age. Like I mentioned, hasn't fought in over 2 years. He was 2-6 in his last 8 before that, going into that injury. Finished in all of those fights. Win or lose, doesn't this have to be it for Chris Weidman? It seems like for years he's been on this I'm going to fight for the title like journey. That's not happening, Chris. Come to reality, it's not happening. But then it also kind of just seems like he wants to get one last good win. Should he just get one last good win and just go? Will he do that if he wins? Obviously, if he loses, he needs to really go. But if he wins, is he smart enough to call it a career?
No. First of all, I think Brad Tavares wins. I think Brad Tavares does what he does and just kind of finds a way to just keep moving, keep pot-shotting them, and Weidman for 3 rounds is probably going to look like a fish out of water, I'd imagine, right? Probably going to attack the leg too, probably give you some leg kicks and everything, and Weidman's mobility is compromised. He's not going to have the right takedowns, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Tavares gets the decision win. That's how I see this fight playing out. But if Weidman does win, he is going to keep fighting. He is going to keep fighting. Like, he is that sort of person. Like, this is the guy who, if I'm remembering correctly, after he broke his leg, I think he was bragging about how fast he was healing, and he had started training too early, right? Remember that correctly? Okay. This is not the guy who makes the wisest decisions with his body, and that's on the level of a professional fighter, okay? If he wins, this is, I still got it. Let me try it again. Because of a win over Brad Tavares, that means something, right? Brad Tavares is not a guy who's ever going to fight for the title. Probably never really going to be considered a contender. But he's always been like the perfect gatekeeper level guy. He's always if you could beat Brad Tavares, you probably got something. Like this was Adesanya's catapult into who we know him to be today. If I'm remembering correctly, that was Derek Brunson's sort of catapult into being the perennial contender that he's been as well. So Chris Weidman beats him. Yeah, that means something. The problem is it doesn't mean he can beat anyone else in that echelon of middleweight. And I think he's going to learn that the hard way, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. He won't walk away. I disagree. In a way, I feel like he might win. It won't be pretty, but I feel like he'll wrestle him. It's one of the things you can kind of get to Brad Tavares to a little bit, unless you're a very athletic, technical striker. You probably maybe finish him on the feet or something like that, but you can get to him a little bit with the wrestling. That's the one thing that for an older fighter that they can still do when their reflexes slow down. They can still lunge in there, grab a leg, and get people down. I feel like we're gonna have that moment where he's gonna get an ugly decision win, and he's gonna keep fighting, and it's just gonna be like, why, Chris? Why? Yeah, it's very much a Frank Mir scenario on the biggest stage, and it's just that classic thing we've seen so many times in the UFC where these fighters that you admire and like, and they just stick around way too long. And he's the new BJ Penn, just sticking around way too long. A great fighter
minus the bar fights.
Minus the bar fights and talking about dinosaurs and running for president. But then again, he's got time. That might come next.